Paul,
Yes.
it's absolutely delightful to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. We love our lunches at Lumbers, and we've had some interesting people, but I have to say, I've been really looking forward to talking to you for a few things, but I'll just ask the first question. Just what got you into entering into royalty?
Well, I didn't want to be a coal miner. I was born in a coal mining community in the north of England, not far from here. I was born in Chesterfield, and I didn't want to go down the mine. And I was thinking, when I was a child, I didn't want that black and white world. I wanted a world full of colour. So I would tear up magazines of pictures and places around the world and pin them to my bedroom wall. I didn't know that would become a Pinterest or my map for the future. This is my dream. But all of that came true because I did achieve everything I wanted to achieve in life, because I went to a catering college in Buxton in Derbyshire, and my master of the household at the time knew the principal of the college. So they were looking for boys to train, 16-year-old boys that were naive and young and didn't know anything about life, and we could train them from the beginning. So I went for an interview. I will never forget that interview, walking into the master of the household's office at Buckingham Palace and sitting down. And he said to me, "Do you always sit down before you're asked to sit down?" I thought, oh my goodness, I've made a big mistake. And then at the end of the interview, he said, "Do you not refer to your superiors as sir?" I said, "Yes." He said, "But not once during this interview have you referred to me as sir. So we'll let you know." Of course, they did let me know, and I failed the interview. It was only a year later, when I was turning 17, becoming 18, that I realised that my destiny was in place, because a letter arrived from Buckingham Palace offering me a job as a footman in the royal household. So by the age of I was 18, I was moving into Buckingham Palace. So can you believe, from that 2 up, 2 down in a coal mining community to the most famous residence in the country, it was pinch me.
Fantastic.
Pinch me time. And of course the rest of my life has been pinch me too, for other reasons.
And that starting part of your life, I mean, I think there's probably a slight divide whether you're a Diana lover or a non-Diana lover.
Yes.
I was born only a mile away from Althorpe, so my parents used to go to Althorpe for dinner occasionally, and this, that, and the other. And so we were definitely in a Diana lovers camp.
I think,
and to me, she's the greatest loss to our royal family has ever had.
I think there is a misunderstanding out there. I think Diana has to be the most misinterpreted, misrepresented, and misunderstood woman of our time, because people didn't really understand. Look through the lens of the 1980s, not the lens of today, because we know much more today. Look back then, we didn't understand why she came along and what her reason was and what her role was within the royal family. Now we understand that more clearly, because she delivered to us William and Harry, and that was her job. But the sadness of it all was the fact that after 4 years of marriage, her marriage was over. And then she was redundant. She had to find her own way.
And did you feel that? Did you
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Within your role, you saw that on a day-to-day basis.
I did. I met Diana when she was 18 years old, before you knew who she was, when she came to stay at Balmoral for the Balmoral test. She came because she had to be introduced to the family. So I knew her from day one. I saw this shy young girl develop into a confident, strong woman who knew her destiny and path. She transformed over time. I always say that Diana was a comet, blazing through the heavens, shining bright, just for a short time, 36 years, but she's become an icon of our generation. And also, I believe that she's as relevant today as she was when she was here.
I think she's one of those moments that they always go, those who were alive when JFK was assassinated will remember where they are. And certainly for me, I remember exactly the day that Diana passed away. I was going to my godson's christening down in Bristol, and I got up really early. I got up at 4 o'clock or something to get, because it was a long drive down there. I was turning the news on, and the headlines were done, and you just could not believe. I was riveted. I ended up being late because I could not leave the screen. And
Something happened.
The day was just such a sad day for the whole
Something
country.
happened then. At that moment, something magical happened in a way, because the world almost stopped revolving just for one split second, and we all took a breath and realised that we had lost the jewel in the crown. She was our future queen, and she was gone. How could that be? This young woman with 2 small children, how could that have happened? And why didn't we take care of her better?
Absolutely, and it's interesting for me. I found it quite interesting because we're quite lucky. We've had some royal connections. We made a trophy for Prince Charles for his polo. It was on stage. We had some of the Wallace Simpson jewellery in for sale, and we sold some of that through the shop. So we've had a nice few connections. Luckily, I met Princess Anne. And when the Queen and Prince Philip came to Leicester, I was honoured enough to be able to meet them. And phenomenal people, I've got to say. I mean, they do, when you meet them, they are extraordinarily gregarious people almost. But on that day, I think it saved the monarchy, because a lot of us were losing trust with what the monarchy was doing and how they were handling Diana. And I think the outpouring of emotion for Diana made them stand up and realise how much they had to change.
I'm a monarchist and always will be. I do feel that the royal family are only there for as long as the people want them to be there, and I think they have to gauge this very carefully. We are witnessing at the moment a transition period between the Elizabethan court to the court of King William. And it is a fact that Charles is a caretaker king, really. He's keeping the seat warm for his son. But he can't change anything in his short time, but William can. William has his eye on the ball, and I think that William's new court, his new way, will charm the British people, and we will realise that this is an institution which we should cherish. 1,000 years history can't just end, and William will take it forward. His mother was the people's princess, he will be the people's king.
I think in terms of the royalty, I totally agree with all that, but we haven't got long enough to talk about everything today. So I do have to ask you, you went from eating a royal banquet to eating kangaroo balls in the middle of the jungle. You've got to tell me what attracted you to do that. And seriously, when they put that dish in front of you, I've never had somebody who's actually eaten it. Is it as revolting as it looks?
Well, I didn't know what it was when I took the lid off it and looked at it. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I had to eat it. What did it taste like? It tasted like oysters. It was salty, like a baby oyster. So not so disgusting. Why did I do it? I'd had a lot of bad press until then, and I realised that my reputation, what people thought I was getting far too big, and people didn't know what my character was. My character is who I am. This is me.
Without doubt, I can tell you, I remember watching that series.
There are two
You
people.
were the highlight to me. Your reaction of when you put your hand in, whatever it was, I can't remember what it was, and just seeing you shouting and yelling, and it was hysterically funny.
Well, that was me. That was me. My 2 boys said to me, "Dad, do it, because they will see how ordinary and how funny you are. They don't know you. They only know Diana's butler." So there are 2 people. There's Diana's butler and that reputation that roams out there, and there's me. I'm a very ordinary guy. I've been thrown into an extraordinary lifetime, and I survived.
It was difficult though, wasn't it? Because you're right, and I'm understanding what you're saying with that, because you went in that show on a bad publicity,
Yes.
and therefore you were given, if I remember near enough, every challenge you were put up for.
Yes.
of
They wanted
which-
to see me suffer.
They wanted to see
the
you
great
suffer
British
for them.
public want to see people suffer.
But you left the prince, didn't you? You weren't quite the king. You were the prince.
I came second.
You came second.
I did. It was almost touch and go all the way through. After the show, they said to me, "We didn't know whether you would win or you'd come second, but we knew it would be one or the other." In a way, I said to Joe Pasquale, the comedian who did win, I was so happy for him, because this was his career.
Yeah.
He was an entertainer, he was a celebrity. I'm not an entertainer, I'm not a celebrity. I didn't want to be king of the jungle, because that would have put enormous pressure on me. I was happy to be second.
I have to say, you would have deserved to win it. I mean, you brought so much. I think that was the height of that programme. I mean, to me, in those days,
do you know I've done that 3 times? I've done the jungle 3 times. I'm the only person that you will ever meet who has suffered it 3 times. 2004, 2022 in South Africa, but I also did it for Australia for their version.
Who did the Australian?
You didn't see that one.
No.
I did well, but you didn't see it. So I've done it 3 times. No more. No more.
I can certainly understand that.
I don't want to do that anymore. But I'm a person that lives life to the full. Every opportunity that comes my way, including coming here to Leicester, I want to experience, I want to enjoy. I don't want to finish my life and say, I wish I'd done that. Or what would have happened if I'd done that? Because you never know what's round the corner. Keep optimistic, keep your avenues open, and do as much as you can. Having just come back from Germany and Austria, thinking to myself, what did they find interesting about me in Germany and Austria? Well, something. Something. Well,
keep going. You must have so many secrets, so many interesting stories that, we've got your book, which you're obviously now hopefully getting everybody to sign today. We'll learn about that. That must be like a little encyclopedia of secrets, is it? Or is it?
Well, it's a tiny little chapter because my life has been crammed full of secrets and full of stories. And today I'm here with these lovely people talking about my life. I've got 35 minutes to cram in 21 years and more of my journey.
I've got to ask one question about Diana, and I've been told I'm not allowed to.
No, you can ask anything.
So, no doubt you can say no comment. I'm a big rugby fan, and of course our England captain at the time was rumoured to have a romance with her. So I think I put it better than I normally would have done.
I knew Will Carling very well.
Was there a romance there? Or?
They were very good friends. And they enjoyed each other's company. And Will is a gentleman, as am I. And he wouldn't appreciate me expanding on that story. But he's a very nice man.
Yeah, no, he's
very nice man.
I've met him down at the Tigers, and he comes across very, very well.
And so is Mike Tyndall.
Oh, Mike Tyndall.
What a good man he is.
Well, we're quite lucky in Leicester, of course, because Mike played in the World Cup final, and half the team were Leicester players. So we have come across Mike. Does phenomenal work for charities and everything else, and just has some historical stories about. His story about I think it was dancing with his with Princess Anne. He said, my mother-in-law, and I was wearing the wrong boxes or something. And you think, well, why was she saying it? He comes out with some good stories.
Well, yes, but he knows which side of the line to tell the stories, and that is the secret of knowing how to walk the tightrope, of knowing what to say and what not to say. And the last time I saw the Queen, I did say to her, Your Majesty, I have so many things to say about you, about how you've helped me, how you saved me so many times. And she said, not yet, Paul. I said, no, I won't. But I will continue that legacy when you're not here to do it yourself. And I will say how wonderful you were and how well you looked after me. And I think it's important for people who were there, who witnessed history, who knew it firsthand, to tell the truth, to say, this was my life too, and this woman, this beautiful, kind Christian woman who was our Queen, became my surrogate mother. And I knew her intimately, I adored her, she was with us all for most of our lives, and I'm sad that she's not here now. She should have been 100 years old. She should have been.
Absolutely.
But she knew that her time was coming to an end, and she...
And to giving service still, was it a week before?
Until the day before she died, she saw Boris and Liz,
didn't she?
and then went back upstairs, and she knew she was dying.
Yeah.
But she still continued to the very end. What incredible people. Princess Anne, we mentioned just now with Mike Tyndall.
Yeah.
Princess Anne is the royal family's workhorse.
Yes.
She never stops.
Yeah.
And she calls a spade a spade. She's her father's daughter, and she does the job extremely well. And what it says on the tin is what it is.
But I have to say the Queen was phenomenal because she came up for Maunday money up in Leicester. Was it 4 years ago? And like I said, I was lucky enough to meet her. And at home, I've got a photo of my daughter meeting her. My stepdaughter Maddie met her. She showed her around Leicester school. I had my father met her, my grandfather met her. So I've got all those photos. So I said, excuse me, Mum, is it possible that we can have a photo? Because all my family have got photos and I'm the only one missing. And she called over the photographer and said, just make sure this is a good one. Sadly, I looked the other way from the camera and I was just looking at her, and it's actually an awful photo. But she was fantastic.
You were there. You knew her, you met her, you knew what a special queen she was.
Yeah, she was.
And it's not quite the same now. I think we will have a revival. We will, when William and Catherine are crowned king and
Absolutely.
queen.
No,
I hope I'm still here to see that.
I'm sure you will. I
hope so.
I'm sure you will. I have to say, I don't see Charles sadly outliving yourself.
No,
you're looking at far ruder health than he does currently.
Well,
if we can say
we have to take care of ourselves, don't we?
We do.
As we get older, we're like vintage cars. And
don't talk about vintage cars.
Bits drop off, and you need things replacing.
It was my father's 90th birthday a couple of months ago, and I had this really interesting phone call from this guy saying, I'm researching this car that belonged to Tony Gomersall, and I didn't know if you'd be related to him. I said, my father, yeah, what car is it? He said, a Jensen. I went, Jensen Interceptor Blue, MJU 607P. And he went, my God, how do you remember that? I said, it's my dream car. I said, what are you doing with it? He says, well, I'm thinking, just looking to see if it's worth restoring. I said, what do you have to do with that? And of course, when you talk about vintage cars, I ended up buying it from him. And this car now, I'm not sure what I will get back of my father's car. It's nothing on it.
It's part of his legacy, and it's part of your history.
I can't wait.
So cherish it.
Yes. Before we finish, we're going to talk about some product numbers. And obviously, being in your game, you have to learn a decorum of how to serve everybody in the royal family. We have to learn a decorum of serving the public, which actually is sometimes quite challenging.
I'm sure it is. But sometimes, you have such an exotic clientele that come through the doors.
We do. We have the exotic Leicester clientele that come through our doors. But we stock one brand, which I've just got to put on your wrist for a moment, because this, funny enough, is a Breguet watch. Now, Breguet is the most historically important watch in the world. Every watch that you wear will have an invention in it that Breguet patented it originally.
Is it more prestigious than Patek Philippe?
Patek Philippe, in their factory, only allow the word Breguet. No other watchmaker is mentioned. And they allow the mention of Breguet within their museum. So yes, Breguet as a brand is more historically important. Every royal family of every European court has always had Breguet, and it was heightened mainly by Napoleon and Marie Antoinette, who just were.
But not as universally known as Rolex or Breitling.
Rolex make 1.5 million watches a year, so I mean they're a little bit more of a mass market. Breguet would make 30,000 watches a year. Patek Philippe would make 90,000 watches a year. So it's a very small niche handmade market, but they're absolutely stunning. And this is one of their complications. But having the closest person to royalty we've had in the shop for a little while, we thought we'd better get the closest watch to royalty that we've got.
So this is
that's a tradition.
The tradition.
Complication, day, date, moon dates on it. With the time in a traditional Breguet Guilloche dial.
In 18 karat gold.
18 karat gold. But doesn't that look lovely?
It looks lovely. It's beautiful.
Paul,
it is.
I've got to say, we're going to try and put your book on in front of everybody today.
Yes.
I've actually loved speaking to you. That's been super. I hope you've enjoyed that.
And thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, and we've enjoyed it. So
that is a beautiful watch.